This is a RAMSeS quick tip on creating a new proposal. Here we're working on the budget screen. Notice that you are asked to put in the initial budget period and the total request. Beginning date carries forward from the general information screen completed earlier. Here we'll choose the end of the first year, simply 1 year later. We'll pull the direct cost off the OSP budget spreadsheet. In this case, we'll suppose it was $25,000. The F&A base is this number, the direct cost, minus things upon which we cannot charge F&A. You can find this number on the OSP spreadsheet under Modified Total Direct Cost on the summary page. In this case, we're going to presume that it's the same amount. The F&A rate is chosen here, and you may choose to change that rate to select one of ECU's other rates, or if the sponsor mandates a rate of its own, you can enter that in here. If you've done these numbers correctly, you can simply use the calculate amount screens and calculate total to figure out the total amount of the project, in this case the initial period, or simply free type the appropriate numbers in there. Since this is only a 1 year proposal, we won't need to enter numbers over here other than to click on this link to copy the 1 year proposals to the totals so that that all matches now. Notice that it's going to instruct you to attach a budget and budget justification. This will be attached later in the attachment screen. And that if the proposal's F&A rate is not 43.5%, then please include a submission note, which would be here, stating where to find the agency's policy in their guidelines. You might, if you can download it, you can also attach that policy to the attachments. If there is cost sharing, then you would click yes. We'll deal with F&A cost sharing here in just a second, but if, for instance, you were going to have a particular unit had agreed to provide some sort of required agency match, in this case the School of Music, who is the lead on this, then you would simply choose that school, put in the amount that they were required, that was being put on the proposal. It asks that you put in an account number if you know it. If you don't know it, you may put in TBD. And notice that that unit is now listed here. So we also, in this case, because we have an F&A rate lower than the ECU standard rate, we have to add another cost share unit to show that to authorize the cost share waiver, and in this case you would choose OSP. And that number would have been the difference between 43.5% of $25,000 and the $3,750, which is actually available. But for the moment, we'll assume that's $5,000. And then there's also a note here suggesting you use 889 in this field. Okay, so we put in cost share here. We make some notes about what it is. In this case, the agency mandated that we provide cost share from the School of Music, and that may have been simply matching. But ECU is also voluntarily cost sharing the F&A. So the voluntary cost share is, generally speaking, only going to be F&A. Are you requesting a chair, dean, or vice chancellor provide funds to support this proposal? In this case, the chair is being asked to provide the $5,000. Possibly this money would have been available from a startup fund or something like that, which would not need chair approval. But most of the time, if you have non-F&A cost sharing, then you're going to answer this question yes. And lastly, you have an opportunity to note if there is space or other resources that are going to be required. Click Save. Notice that you now have a check mark on the budget screen, so that means that you've done all this correctly.